the second day of RINTIS Art Showcase. I am Zihui, the community lead of Kabel, and I will be your moderator for today. Kabel is a human-to-human job platform where we connect you directly to hirers. Swipe, match, and chat your way to land yourself an internship or your first job, just like Tinder, but for jobs. I want to thank Dr. Hanim and the RINTIS committee for arranging a second Kabel session for us for RINTIS Art Showcase Week, and we are so excited to start our spotlight session today to highlight two hiring companies, called Art and Craft Co. and the Hot Shoe Show. They will be sharing about their company, what kind of talents they're looking for, and why you should join them. Before we start, this is a small reminder to download the Kabel app from the App Store or the Google Play to check out the internship opportunities offered by hiring companies here with us today. You have to download the app before you scan the job cards QR codes that we will be showing later on, because you need to use the scanner within the Kabel app itself. Just a reminder, you also need to set your location to Kuala Lumpur and Selangor to match with companies outside of Penang. All right, so without further ado, let's begin the session with Cork Art and Craft. Since 1981, Cork Art and Craft Co. has been a family-owned and operated company that has been pursuing the fine art of timber craftsmanship without interruption. They were founded on and continue to run on the belief of quality over quantity. Utilizing time-tested fabrication techniques, they design and build in totality here in Malaysia. In addition to the plethora of homes that they have contributed to, their work can also be found in Dewan Parliament, royal palaces, and even the Islamic Art Museum. Here with us today is the partner, Mr. Kok Jit Sung, who is the fourth generation to take the mantle at Cork Art and Craft Co. His creative experiences include copywriting at Saatchi & Saatchi Malaysia and design strategy at JKR Shanghai. All right, so let's welcome Mr. Kok.
Everybody, firstly, great thank you to Si Hui and Kate Lee to organize this. Thank you, USM, and also thanks to RINTIS for making all this possible. Yes, so in my short introduction, that's who I am. Fourth generation take over the mantle at this company. So I just move over to my presentation slides, and here we go. So Cork and Craft, as you've heard, is a timber craft company, and we specialize in the fine art of timber craftsmanship lah. To understand the company more, actually, you've got to look at how it all started. Officially, we started in 1981, but how things have started was since my great-grandfather. So this is my great-grandfather. To see the family, we use a traditional Chinese system, and his name, it means the center of a book.
Sir, we could not see your slide actually.
You can't see my slide?
Yeah.
Hold on.
I think you haven't pressed share button, I think.
My mistake. So many technicals. What about now? Is it good?
All right, yes, we can see
fantastic. Sorry.
now. So sorry.
Yep, I will. No worries. No worries. Let me just reset. Yep, so Cork and Craft. Like I said, timber craftsman company, and here we have an earliest photo I have of my grandfather, and my grandfather is this guy. Oops, sorry. There we go. That's my grandfather, and he started trading and ended up in the furniture business. So tables, chairs, what have you, and he gave birth to my father, and now down to me. And how this translates moving forward is that it is a long legacy of culture. And to look into what we do, you have to actually look at how we do it. And it is considered ancient technology, so to speak. And it's interlocking joinery, Chinese interlocking joinery. And essentially, people think of furniture and fabrication in, screw, nuts, bolts, gum, clamps, staples, etc. However, interlocking joinery uses things like dowels and pegs and inserts and Essentially, what it does is you create mechanical bonds between two parts. No longer are they reliant on gum or glue or a screw. So if something is loose, if a regular structure relying on something else externally holding it together, matter of time that gives way. But mechanical bonds create permanent fusion in many ways. However, you can disassemble, you can service, you can fix it and make it new again. There's a scalable application to what we do, from simple chairs and tables and side tables, and it's even all the way up to temples and mosques, and I mean the Forbidden Palace. Is all Chinese interlocking joinery without external binding, without external chemistry. Where are we now? So why this is important? Because if you look at mechanical bonds, essentially it's the craft structures where design and joinery work hand in hand to realize a certain structure without the reliance on mechanical external binding. Less is more. You don't need to add more to make something stronger. You don't need to keep on putting things bigger, stronger, faster, harder. Less is more. You need to focus on the fundamentals. That's how we do things. Scalability, to customize and improvise tried and tested techniques in accordance with relative mass of plan structure with keeping maximum strength possible at a constant. So even from a small side table or even a small trinket all the way to a palace, it's the same technique, the same methodologies, just in different variations. How, if you want to look at this poetically, you look at people. We all have two eyes, two hands, two legs, one mouth, etc., etc., etc. We all come from the same place. We are going to the same place. But in between, how it changes and adapts, that's a different story. And why this is important is because the techniques and methods we do things, it's not, technology, it's not mine and mine alone. Only I have this glue. If you want to use this glue, you've got to pay me a premium. We don't do things like that. Joinery is a centuries old thing. In Japan, you find it with their style. In Western Europe, you find it in their style. In Malaysia, you find it on style. And in Malaysia, it's very interesting. It's called tanggam technique. And you find that we incorporate joinery into carvings, into shapes, instead of logical structures, which Chinese joinery does. So how this changes things in terms as a woodworking company in 2022. We are traditional and we are also non-traditional. What do I mean by this? If you measure traditional in terms of, for example, look at Malaysia in the 80s and 90s. Rapid growth, importation of materials, labor, ideas, economies, markets. So up is always good. That's one. Two, more is more. And three, good is good. It's very, thoughtless. This is harder, stronger, stand the test of time better. However, non-traditionally speaking, if you look at watches, traditionally speaking, they are machines, small parts, hundreds of them working together. And but a bang, you tell time on your wrist. But non-traditional, where you have quartz movements. These things are electronical, they are non-traditional, they are utilizing new technology. And in terms of performance and reliability, they far outperform mechanical watches. But that's not to say mechanical watches are inferior. They have their market, they have their thing, they have their place. So traditionally in Malaysia, we have served these kind of places. We have used the art of timbercraft because as carpenters, we understand the material is not artificial. It is part of the land. It is grown from the ground. So to treat it with certain respect, that has been a kind of a philosophy for carpenters. And you find that over the years, Malaysia, Europe, Japan, Indonesia, we've put in flowers and small details of who we are, how we've come to be. These things, they were the physical poetries of things back in the day. Back in the day, we didn't have the internet. newspaper was cutting edge to the technology of communication. But now it's a different world, 2022. Now, even identity, I bet anyone here can't just say, I am who I am with everything I've grown up with, and that's it. Because we've got media, we've got time, we've got travel, we've got all sorts of communication tools, from cameras all the way to instruments. So life and identity in 2022 is becoming very abstract. And how do we reflect this in products? This is moving forward the new design language, or at least an experiment before we push the craft of timber. Because we don't own timber craft. We are merely carpenters in this long line of as a discipline. Like sport, Usain Bolt may be the fastest person right now, but he's just one runner, and forever and ever there'll be a 100-meter dash. So we've started mixing materials. We've started becoming more abstract. We've played with simplicity a bit more, because complex is simple, simple is complex. In any industrial fabrication, you'll find this rule seems to be constant. You say you just want a wall here, but it's not as simple as that. So we started playing with things that show our identity, like these are traditional Chinese hashing. However, the meaning is lost in the past. In today's world, we don't really appreciate the poetry, like carvings and such. But we've played with things like Nonya glass and joint wood timber, plus custom manufacturing. And then we take design cues from mid-century modern or all sorts of things. We can do so much. And that's because Scott and Craft is independent. We've always been. With that, I think we can talk about the principles in this company. Now you've seen the products, you see how we've come to be. You see how we treat our materials. It's not always about the bottom line. It's not always about speed. It's about quality. It's about making something that lasts. A good table will serve its purpose forever and ever and ever. If it starts to lose its purpose as a table within 7 years, then, is it really worth your time? I mean, but that's the market today. There are trends, there are things, there are things, there are trends, there are events unaccounted for. However, part of the principle is that, again, strong foundations. Things are done right when they're done right. And hopefully, it's the best can be. I can make a chair as best as I can, but it's being abused. What can I do? It's going to be broken. And that echoes throughout life. And in life, that comes with our purpose. What are we here for? Yeah, we make timber products and we create things with art and craft and heart. So that automatically takes us to people. This you see here is a bus stop that we built in 1994, 93. This was before the MR2 was even around. Sadly, this bus stop is no longer here, but you have to jump through all sorts of hoops just to participate and, fight the good fight. You want to make things good, you want to make things nice. It's tough. Just because you have a good idea doesn't mean people let you do it. And I think Art and Craft has earned that privilege in many ways over the years. So finally, knowing that what we do and our purpose is to serve, ultimately, to provide, to share, to contribute. Because design is not us. We are not vanguards of design. We are merely participating. And you want to contribute. And it's always about sharing. It's always about giving. And that would be our vision. Our vision essentially is to chip in just enough. Not too much, not too little, but just enough to take things to the next step. Then after this, Bismillah, it's the next level. Nothing to do with us anymore. So it's still a family-run and own business end to end, from supply all the way to delivery, and everyone's hands-on. You have to be, because what do you expect if you want to work with Art and Craft? It's freedom. It's absolute freedom, creatively speaking and production speaking. I'm in a position where I'm grateful and I'm very fortunate that, so to speak, I wave my hand and a cabinet appears. But it's more than that, of course, because the freedom comes with its burdens. Creativity is a nice place to be, but it's difficult. You have to commit, you have to sacrifice for this kind of lifestyle. It's a discipline. You cannot You cannot learn silat just once a week, half an hour. It has to be a lifestyle. Because core and craft, we're old school. And what I mean by that is that we don't, if I want to meet someone for coffee and do a meeting, I don't just drop my Google invite. I can't do that. We don't do that here. It's most important to talk. As a company, it's not about what you can do, it's how much you care. It's how much you want things to start to happen, and for who and why. We are independent. We enjoy the independence. We don't want to be locked into contracting things because niat kena betul lah that you want to do this, and that shows in your actions. And which is why work is so slow. Slow in a sense where the products are huge and heavy, and timber is hard to work with. The craftsmanship takes time. Just to polish something takes about a week because coat after coat, time after time, the only thing you can do is wait to make things nice. But once it's delivered, it's done. That's why it's high stakes. To give some perspective, a chair or so a dining set, let's say 8-seater dining set, depending on the intricacies, and let's say a simple dining set can cost up to 17,000 ringgit, 8 seaters and above. So it's high stakes. If you mess this up, it has to go back to the factory, and it's got to have taken apart and carefully put back together. So don't cannot play. And it's with all business, you can't play. But here it's slow a bit, slow a bit. But you get the ownership. You've been there start to finish. You were there to take the measurements, you were there to oversee the production, and you were there to, give delivery. And that's why it's a much slower pace of working. You cannot expect, we're not a bank. We don't have graduate programs to excel you to assistant vice president in less than 3 years. We are homebred Malaysian mom and pop shop. Let's think of it that way. So it's not, it's a nice place if you want to be a stepping stone to more things. I've been in creative world myself, and especially the corporate creative world. Pros and cons everywhere. I can say the pros here are absolute freedom, and I wouldn't give it that for the world. Whether you like that or not, I'm willing to extend that option to you. But like I said, it comes with certain things come with the territory. So that kind of commitment has to be bought into. On the platform, I've listed a certain amount of positions, but I like to retract that and say, whatever background you are, whether you feel yourself are creative or not, feel free to get in touch. Feel free to reach out, even if just for coffee. That'd be nice, On that note, that's all I have to share today. Thank you very much, Sihui. I will share the screen back to you. How do I cancel this?
You can stop sharing at the, yeah,
There we go.
okay. Thank you so
Thanks,
much,
guys.
Mr. Clark. If you are interested in the, hang on, let me share the screen for the QR code. Like he said, like Mr. Clark said, you do not have to be a creative student if you want to get in touch with him. He's very chill about it. You can tell like he's a nice guy. You can talk to him and ask him anything because he has like a lot of experience throughout his working life already. Here, let me share. Okay. Okay, so if you are interested in the internship position at Cork Art and Craft Co., do scan this QR code here with the scanner within the Kabel app. Remember to download the Kabel app first, yeah? So feel free to take a screenshot of this slide too if you want to do it later on and get in touch with Mr. Cork directly. Let's give them like a few moments to take a screenshot or to scan this QR code. Yeah, that was a very nice sharing, Mr. Cobb. Like, it really resonates because, like, even my grandma from last time, since young, she will keep telling me we have to keep everything that we got last time because whatever you buy now, although it's new and shiny, it doesn't last. It will
Yeah,
stop working. Yeah.
it's only there for next 3 years, but these things have changed, Back then, everyone, big family, would live in one house, and one cabinet can serve everyone, and that's a crockery for 3 generations in the kitchen. But urbanization and space and demographics. Now we live in condominiums. How to bring the cabinet 600 kilo up into the escalator? So things are
Exactly.
changing. Things are changing. But let's hope lah. Between everybody, we find an equilibrium of how to live in peace, and then we all serve that, and everyone happy lah. Apa lagi mau?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really important to like put the importance of quality over quantity. But I mean, with how things are
Don't
going
wait.
with e-commerce and all that, a lot of them are just like, quantity. They want to emphasize on the quantity so that they can deliver to more people. But the
Mm.
quality, I think, is still really important. Yeah.
But also people, lor, people. What do you treasure? If you like, let's say handbags, you buy a good handbag and it lasts for generations. But if you don't care about slipper, then ya lah, buy
It
and
really
throw.
depends. Mm.
It really depends on the thing. And we used to live in, if your father's a farmer, you are a farmer, and your grandson is a farmer. Nelayan, kebun. It's always back then. But today it's a different world. So everything has to evolve ways.
There are much more opportunities right now already, so people can explore and also like push their limits. They don't have to stay within the same things that they have known for life. Yeah.
Exactly. And the creative world is shook by the whole NFT thing. It's
Yeah.
it's a different world. It's a different world.
Yeah.
So slowly lah, and I'll be so happy if Malaysia is a key player in that.
Yes.
We are totality, all of us combined, we're too talented to fade into nothing. We cannot.
We just
We're
need
quite a
the
smart
right
bunch.
channel and like the exposure to really set us up there. I really think Malaysians are really creative as well. The creatives have been booming a lot since like back then, like that. I see more and more online shops, like young creatives, and that's really inspiring. And like
Yeah,
hopefully that they are able to reach like greater heights.
yeah, and we're people of great soul. Like if you look at our food, any Malaysian rarely travel, eat local food, and go, wow, this changed your life. You go, Allah, in Kampung Baru go nicer. So,
Okay, thank you so much for sharing
no
about
worries.
your company and your experiences, Mr. Kok. And now we will be moving on to the next company, which is the Hot Shoe Show and Co. So, the Hot Shoe Show & Co. is a company that specializes in strategic events, communications, and destination management for over 35 years now. They have since expanded to Cambodia and Vietnam, and they have like a support system from a network of local strategic partners to serve clients all around the Asia region. As they are in constant pursuit of what matters, they are firm believers of enriching people through every engagement and to always deliver what matters with agility, quality, and value. And here with us today, we have Miss Ilani Azalia, and you can call her Lani. She is the HR manager of the Hot Shoe Show & Co. She started at the Hot Shoe Show & Co. over 5 years ago as a PR executive, eventually shifting to content strategy and now focus on developing functional departments including HR, corporate comms, and intellectual properties. Her recent notable projects also include the virtual Callway Run, Petro Science Festival, Net Idol in Cambodia, Rimmel X GVF, Robinson's KL Grand Opening Ceremony, and the TM Leap Summit, and even many, many more. And she's going to share all about it in her presentation. So take it away, Miss Lani.
Hi, thank you, Sahui. Hang on, let me just share my screen.
Okay.
Okay, can you guys see? All right. Okay, so good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is still energized and ready to take on the day. Okay, so I'm sure everyone's feeling hungry. I think we are the last speakers today, and I'm sure everyone's looking forward to lunch already. Okay, so don't worry, I'm not really here to sort of like present you our intro deck, right? So what I really wanted to do is more like a sharing session of my story and some of the stories of my colleagues' experience of what it's like to work at Hot Shoes. And just by the way, if I'm not looking at the camera, because my monitor's on the right, so it's not that I'm not looking at you, okay? So anyway, so in this presentation, there's gonna be like a lot of photos that I just picked out from, you know, the phone and all the group sharing. So you may have to forgive the quality of some of them. But honestly, I just wanted to sort of bring you into our world a little bit and just show you a little bit of what our culture looks like, okay? So, but let's break the ice a little bit. Let me introduce myself to you. My name is Ilani, but you can call me Lani. And I started off my career a lot like you. I actually graduated with a degree in hospitality and tourism management, and I worked in the industry for like about 2 years, and then I did some sales, you know, and then I did some odd jobs here and there. But like eventually, I found myself in PR with another company, but it's like within the same group, okay, the same group that Hot Shoes belongs to. And at the time, basically what I did at that time, which was like maybe 6 years ago, was I just Googled in top event management companies Malaysia, and then I just emailed everyone on the list. That's actually that's how job searching was back then, right? Back then. And I remember Hot Shoes was the one that called me back, and I remember when I was interviewing, I was like, I don't know anything about PR. Okay, but I promise that I'll give you 110% every day, and I will work 10% harder than anyone else that walks through your door. And you know, that's really something that, you know, I hold very true personally as a promise every day. And this moment is kind of like a very full circle moment, because the person that I said that to is actually my HR director, who's also in this call. And 5 years later from that interview, she is now my direct boss. So it's very interesting, you know, where your career is going to take you, and as you progress, you know, on your own individual journey. And my career path here in Hot Shoes has been really full of like twists and turns, you know, as you evolve as a person as well. Because I joined the company as a PR executive, and then somehow I managed to like make the switch to content strategy, and that was really where I found my passion, right, and focus for the next 4 years with the company, and then to eventually become the head of integrated strategy for the group. And some of the work that you might see, like the one that's most recent, is like TM Leap Summit, you know, virtual Koei Run. We had thousands of people participating in that. I think if you went to Good Vibes last time, the Rimmel booth with the unicorn and the disco, like that's that's us. And you know, we just did a bunch more amazing campaigns. But I would say that, you know, none of that would have really been possible without, you know, the really amazing team that we have in the office. And sometimes it feels so surreal, you know, in those like moments when you think back, you're like, oh my God, I just started out as an exec. You know, I just was learning how to write a press release, learning how to do a proposal, and then through, you know, overcoming challenges, through like supported learning and development, you can grow into a person that doesn't just coordinate, but I also lead a team of, you know, industry experts, and together we conceptualize and execute some really amazing and like award-winning stuff. But I think if you ask me, my favorite part of like the last 5 years was, I think, when because of the pandemic, right? So we actually were able to host a cross-country training with over 25 participants, and so that was all done virtually. And it was, the goal of that was for me to teach them how to like hashtag build winning decks, right? Which is what I did for a very long time. And you know, just like when I was 23, you know, I'm making like another sort of right turn in my career, which is to look at how to develop functional departments, which include like HR, corporate comms, and IPs, or intellectual properties, right? So even though this role has been new, it's been very eye-opening, because now I can kind of see what the other side of business looks like. And I think if you were to summarize like my whole experience in terms of my career, right, I think it would just say like, what looks like success is often just patience and a willingness to experiment and try. So five things that you should know about me. The first one is the quote that inspires me most is start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. But I've localized that and just turn it into try out. You know, see what happens, you know. In terms of music, really I listen to everything. I think the thing that bonded my husband and I together is our like intellectual love for hip hop. In terms of series, my favorite thing to read right now is the Percy Jackson series. Like I picked up the books and I just couldn't put them down. I just was like reading. TV shows is Futurama because it's something that, you know, it's a show I can really just watch over and over again, and because it inspires me to think about like what's possible, you know. And something that you find surprising about me is that I'm pretty good with my hands. Like I bake, I sew, I cook, I draw, you know, I color. I probably couldn't compare to what Cox does in in his factory, but like I still can. My current obsession is drawing and coloring. I do it daily. Okay, so that's really all that you need to know about me as a person. You can always just message me later if you have another question. But I think the question that we want to answer here is, how did hot shoes get so hot? Okay, and why is it called hot shoes? I know because every single time I meet a person who hears the company name for the first time, this is the first question that we hear. So let me tell you the story. So the company was founded in 1986, and in the beginning, we just supplied dancers, right? And hence the name Hot Shoes, because their shoes are hot, and so they are dancing. That's the image, right? So from there, it kind of just naturally progressed, you know, like if you can supply the dancers, then you can supply the sound and light. If you can do the sound and light, then you can do the launch gambit. If you can do the launch gambit, then you can pretty much just do the whole event. So that's just really how it happened. And then after that, it really just became like about honing our craft, you know, doing bigger, more. And then and one of the biggest milestones that we actually have was that we were actually the first event agency in Malaysia to be certified with ISO 9001 2015 and OSHA's 18001 in 2008. So what that basically means is that we are internationally recognized as a world-class process-driven events agency that meets global standards. And of course, with that just comes like, you know, awards. So 36 years later, we've evolved into much more than your average event company. We've grown to have 6 different business streams. Events and activations are still bread and butter for us. They're the main thing that we do still. But we've also branched into digital marketing, creative services, technology. So we do web apps, CRMs, dashboards. We do interactive technology as well. So like things like your VR and your AR. Again, we have the intellectual property. And now, thanks to the pandemic, we have our own green screen studio in-house. So I'll show you guys some of that later. And why we do that, right, is because when you put all our business streams together, we actually make up a full funnel solution for our clients. But more importantly, because of the way that the company is set up, it's that when one of us shines, like let's say the creative, right, with your 3D and all that, it's the rest of us shines because none of us can properly fulfill our role without each other, right? So it's really a team-based environment. And that is where you come in. Okay, so at Hot Shoes, you know, or any of the companies within the Epic Experience Group, we know that, you know, our talent is our best asset. Okay. And so the question is, you know, when we interview any candidate, right, whether they are interns or directors or managers or part-timers, it really doesn't matter. We are looking when we interview, we're looking for a very specific set of values. Okay, so why is because we are in constant pursuit of what matters, right? And therefore, we hire and we nurture our talent according to those values. And so I'm going to give you a very summarized version of what matters to us, right? So from the beginning, like the entire company started out of passion, right? The passion to deliver experience in the right way, at the right place, at the right time, to the right people, right? It's about creating that moment. And we look for people who share that same passion, first and foremost. Okay. Second is people matter. And we believe, in diversity, we believe in inclusivity, we believe in collaboration within the departments, but also with our external parties, just because of the nature of the business and the industry. Then it's all about mindset, right? So, okay, we're certified international standard agencies, so we like to think global, but we are I would say we're very humble people. And so we remember to act local in our intentions, because for us, the ultimate goal is growth. And last but not least is values. So for us, trust and integrity is everything. And we deliver our work with agility, quality, and value at every single level. Okay. So, and all of this is because we're focused on creating moments for tomorrow, right? So whether it's doing an engagement online through a virtual event, or like a physical dinner setting, or now, creating a 3D exhibition, or creating a sports day for your company, doing a fashion show, or like even making games, So there's a really wide spectrum of things that we do. And our formula for success is to appeal to emotions, we craft experiences, as well as meaningful engagement. So we do things that make sense. Okay. And honestly, we can't just do that every day. That's what we do every day. So I just pulled these photos from my phone, just to give you like a sneak peek into what our office culture looks like. So if you can see here in the middle, we have this huge green screen studio. This is on like the second floor. And so we have the entire like live stream set up for events, which the guys actually just like to use to shoot fun videos. Okay, and then so this top row is our execution team, or the operations team. So they are the guys who like bring things to life, make things real. We had once the Squid Games. We had a Squid Game theme thing. So we had the host. I remember what his name. We had him here. And then down here is our social and creative team working together on a brainstorm. Here's the huge whiteboard, just to come up, dreaming up the next most unforgettable campaign. And what happened when the pandemic kicked in was that we all had to convert to working online, working from home, right? And I will admit that it did take quite a lot of adjustment, but we found a way to make that fun, right? So if you can see here, 1, 2, 3, these three people here. So we actually had a brief that required us to do like online team building. So we were like, oh, it's okay, we'll test it. We'll test it out with each other, and it's really about what I would say it's about human connection, figuring out how to make that human connection. And we do that for our clients, but we also do that for ourselves every day. Okay. The nice thing about us is that we also kind of hang out after work. We are at the end of the day friends. So for example, like on the right, this is me with Mei and Xander. We went to see Tiffin. This is our social manager and our creative director accidentally twinning. Like that's how sometimes like when you dress the same. And then this is Michelle when she met Sofian. He's the magic video editor guy on Instagram. We also get up to a lot of activities together. We make sure to update each other once we got vaccinated. We have dinner. a lot. We have parties a lot. We even exercise together a lot, you know, because I think it's really important to keep each other healthy. And then especially during when we were all working from home, you know, some people got very lonely, and so you know we just tried to make that effort to keep each other healthy, you know, take care of each other's mental health, and just find a way to like make it fun. Festives are also a big thing for us. Like, so you can see Chinese New Year, we do Secret Santa. We have This Is Ian, the Skatu, we made a Skatu Christmas tree. And then this is actually our Cambodia office. So they didn't have space for a tree, so they like took A4 paper and they pin, and then they made their whole tree. So what you know, I'm just trying to show you what it's like if you join, right? And then over festive, I don't know, you can see Daniel here is playing with the Watsons, Raya. And then we had like a Baju Kurung day in the office, or Baju Melayu day, not Baju Kurung, Baju Melayu day. These are our Christmas trees. We do 3 every year, and then Chinese New Year we always have the lion dance. So it's a very like it's fun. Okay. But even though we do have a lot of fun at work, we also are very focused on delivering high quality work, right? That's really very important, and we are quite strict on that. Because, you know our clients. I think I don't really have to go through this list. Do you have too many overlapping? Okay, so after 36 years, you know, we've pretty much touched every industry there is. So if you were to get an internship placement with us, you would be able to have really large exposure in terms of your portfolio, in terms of your work portfolio, right? So whether, you know, to show that you've done work for telcos, maybe I can make it small. So where was I? Yeah, so whether you've done work for telcos or FMCG, banks, tourism, automotive, like insurance, property, airlines, beer, confectionery, you know, the list just goes on and on, right? So, but actually, you know, we're here to talk about you, right? This is the whole reason for this is for you. And I just wanted to give you 8 reasons why you should want to intern with us, okay? So the first is you get an allowance, 500 ringgit, sorry, every month. But also you get to work from home because of the current circumstances. You know, some of us come to the office, but some of us still work from home. And I think once things settle down a little bit, we will be introducing like a rotation system. So you will get to meet everyone, and you will get the whole like office atmosphere. You are guaranteed to have a mentor because as a culture, we believe in teaching, we believe in guiding, we believe in developing young talent. And if you prove that you're able to work independently, then we will like trust you with either leading a small project or leading a portion of the project so that you can gain more experience earlier on in your career. We have a really good history of converting our interns into full-time employees where they get to enjoy full staff benefits, and that I'll show you some of them later. You also have the opportunity to do international work or work on international projects. So for example, the team actually just came back, or they went to Doha during MCO, they went to Doha to host one of the AFC Congress, which connected 28 countries together live. We're also really proud to be able to have been a part of this brand building campaign in Cambodia. So I think if you're interested in graphic design and branding, this would be very interesting for you. And we're very proud to be able to be a part of building something from the ground up. And sometimes you get to do fun stuff like rock out with influencers at a festival in Singapore. So definitely we do, you know, this was a box that we designed in 3D for this whole thing was designed in-house. Yeah, so there's a lot of room for growth and learning. Okay, oops, how do I go back? Okay, and And then as well as, as you recall, for us, mindset really matters. So when you join Hot Shoes, you don't just get like the work experience, but you also get the learning experience, right? So in the office, we have subscribed to Udemy, where you have like we have a whole collection, a whole library of courses that you can take for free. Uh, and and we also always have level up sessions. So that's when you have industry experts. So for example, people within the company or external speakers will come and they will do like a little talk or a sharing session on how, for example, this one Ian did how to Hugh Jackman your presentation. So how do you present better, so you get tips and tricks and you learn how to do things better. And after each, for example, course that you finish, you will also receive a certificate of completion from what's called the Epic University, so that you can add that to your credentials. Okay, because we're really like all about development and progression here. Okay, but last but not least, right, is this. I can tell you, like, I've been here for 5 years, and I would say that we don't really lose touch with each other. We still keep in touch with each other all the times. Sometimes we give each other business because people go, explore different work opportunities. But so somehow, like the business still comes back to us, and other times, sometimes we just remain friends. So last but not least, when you join Hot Shoes, you're really making connections for life. So let's talk about what your career could look like. Okay. Yeah. So this is a typical career path for a designer, right? You start off as an intern, junior designer, graphic designer, senior designer, art director, associate art director, associate creative director, group creative director. So generally, this is the career path for you. And then very often designers and creatives will sort of change agencies in between here so that they can get more experience. But I just wanted to tell you like about these three supermen here in the office. Okay, so we have Daniel, Andy, and Aish. So Daniel is actually our current business unit head, and he actually started with Hot Shoes as an intern, like 15 years ago. He was here as an intern, but he was on the account servicing side, and he just went boom 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 through the whole ranks, right? And here, if you see this icon, that's just kind of when he left us to go and explore his passion, see new things. And then he came back 2 years ago, last year, as our business unit head. And Andy also, I believe he started off as intern, and then he became event officer, and then event manager, account director, group account director, and then I think he left also for a little while to try something new, and then he came back as the CEO of Cake. So Cake is another company under the Epic Experience Group. His career path is shorter because it's before Daniel, way before Daniel, so it's shorter. Okay, but I wanted to bring up this guy who is Aish. He's our group creative director, and why is because I think his career path will be what your career path will kind of look like, right? So he joined us 7 years ago now as junior designer. Then he like work, and then he made his way up as deputy creative director, and then he left for a while to go to a few different agencies where he went up the career ladder, and then he came back to us last year as our creative director. And now he manages a team of like 9 creatives. Like, so he leads graphic designers, UI UX designers, 3D designers, 2 strategists, and that's just like here in Malaysia, right? He's also, I think, next week going to Cambodia because he needs to like realign the team of 5 creatives over there. So he's doing, really impressive work every day. I just like don't know how he does it. So last but not least, before I end my presentation, I just want to share with you a photo of all the colleagues that we have that started off as interns and are now actually our colleagues, right? So we have Lai, he's the senior project specialist, he's so sweet. We have Crystal, who is a sales manager for the biggest account, the biggest client account in the group. We also have Moo, who's our junior project specialist, and then Irene, who's also our junior project specialist. So I'm gonna say, my offer to you is, how about let's make things epic. And on that note, I conclude my presentation. You can see on our picture. See, Andy's face looks like the guy from Squid Games. Okay, so thank you for your attention. I think we're going to open the floor to any questions. Wow,
Thank you so much, Lani. If you are interested in the positions at the Hot Shoe Show, like here are the codes for you. Here are the QR codes for you to scan. Again, you have to use the scanner within the Kabel app. So remember to download the Kabel app first. And also you can take a screenshot first as well. There's a lot of positions available at the Hot Shoe Show. And you can find what you're really interested in, the social media, web developer, UI UX, graphic designer, and you can see how far you can go with with the Hot Shoe Show. That's great. You already downloaded it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I will pause on this page for a while, and honestly, we can start the Q&A session already. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We will be getting questions through the chat box and also the Facebook Live. So our first question is, what is the experiential intern? Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Okay. So the experiential intern is basically what you would understand as a management trainee, but you would start off in our events department. Okay, so if you imagine like our ecosystem, we have the events team. Let me just like make it easier, right? So you have the events team, the social team, the tech team, the UI UX team. So with the experiential intern, you will start off in the events team, but then you would also be able to branch into the different departments if that's something you're interested in. But generally, the experiential intern will work with the studio. They will work with the events and operations. So that's really where you learn about production and how to bring experiences to life, right? Whereas if you were in the creative team, for example, if you were a creative intern, then you would learn more about brainstorming concepts, how to do mood boards, how to come up with more creative ideas and campaigns, and then how to do that, execute that in terms of design. Yeah. So one is more like making something real, and then another one is like coming up with ideas. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. Thank you so much for answering the question, Lani. I hope that was insightful for Amanda.
Thank you, Amanda. Text me, DM me.
Yeah.
How big is the team at Hot Shoes? Okay. Now some of us are working from home, some of us are here right now, are in the office. So in total right now we have about 50 people, right? If you're combining the Cambodian office, the local office is maybe about 30 or 40 strong now. Yeah. If you're asking about the creative team is about 10. What do the day-to-day responsibilities of the role look like for a graphic intern? Okay, so graphic intern, you will be working together. So when you come in as a graphic intern, you will be paired with a senior designer. Okay, so the senior designer will be like, okay, I gotta take care of you. Okay, so when you come in, your main role will be to support our designs for pitches, and also if we have any client accounts that we are doing now. So what that means is, for example, if we need to do a poster or we need to do a social media post or whatever, so you will be involved in the process from brainstorm. So normally the process of how we get a creative out is the salesperson will come in, they'll bring in a brief, and then they say, oh, the client wants this. So we'll have a brainstorm session. So during this brainstorm session, that's where you will sort of be able to do some research. You can bring your research, do some mood boards. We'll teach you how to do that as well. Then you will show like what you can do, what we could possibly do. We'll discuss the ideas. Then from there, you as the intern will help the designer to create the mock or create the design. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Kok, you also have questions. What
Yeah,
about
there's a
the-
question for Mr. Kok. What about the day-to-day responsibilities for the creative design intern at your company?
Okay, so I was just listening to Lani's presentation, and we came to the conclusion: if you're extrovert, you go with her.
Yeah.
If you're introvert, you come with me.
Actually.
You're introvert, you come with me.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
with when I was looking through Kabel app, it's like what kind of interns are there? It's a creative design intern. It's the closest fit because you'll be responsible for everything, and you're responsible for yourself. And that, for example, we'd start off with the day, and you and I would discuss because you report to me straight, and that's it. There's no super duper levels. It's just you and me, and I'll discuss what needs to be done, and then you do lah. So I really think because with Lani's program, it actually takes you through extremely well everything that needs to do with the creative process. A lot of people think creative process is just all magic in the thin air. No, it's a lot of thinking, a lot of planning, and with working with me, I in many ways assume you will be able to either do this yourself or want to learn on your own. That's why introverts would work very well. They will go and YouTube themselves and find out themselves. They don't want to be with people. Then, because okay, Code and Craft is a lot of introverts. So we're an introverted place.
Yeah.
So a creative design intern will have to self-learn many things that their own idea come up with. So you got to put your own idea to the test. You think it's a great idea? Fine, you try it. How are you going to make this archway that big? You figure out the engineering. So that's how it'd be like. So creativity expanding beyond just aesthetics, but into things like engineering and technicals and electronics, etc., etc. Yeah. So that's a day-to-day.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
Cult and Craft would be a place that if you really want to experiment, you want to like challenge your creativity, you want to see how far you can go. I think Cult and Craft is amazing, would be an amazing platform for you to like
Yeah.
jumpstart that like level of creative thinking. I think with us at Hot Shoes, Bia Musa, I do see your question. I'll answer it shortly. But so I think, with us, we are very process driven. It's a very step by step sort of like learning process. But I will say that it probably will not be as laid back as Cop and Craft, because first of all, it is an agency, and I think what Mr. Cox said about it just some things come with the territory, you know. And I think when you come into an agency role, it's very important that you are aware that it is a very demanding role. And, things must be like quick, things must be fast, things must be on point. And that's why we have really sharpened like our process so that things can be sharp. Your learning is very like right? Because it is a very demanding sort of industry. And those are just things that, it just comes with the territory. Yeah. So yeah, working with Cotton Craft is more like an apprenticeship. With us, it's like
Yeah.
learning how to do things really
Yeah. With Lani, it looks fantastic because you're not alone, and you
yeah,
with people
yeah.
with you,
Yes,
and everything is done together.
yeah,
And fast is fast, but done together, it's she can tell
yeah,
you it's not difficult when you've got people with you.
yeah. And even when it's difficult, it's not so bad. But it's really,
Exactly.
yes, we do everything together. You're never really alone in anything. Probably only when you're doing your designing work, then you'll be like, I need to be alone, please. But
Run
generally,
away and yeah.
please, but otherwise, really, every step of the way, it's done with somebody or at least with a team from different departments so that you can really have like an open mind. Your question was, do you have a production team and will there be an internship for that department? Yes, we do. The production team one is the experiential intern, which I don't think I have. Yes, I do. Yeah. So yes, that you would apply for that under the experiential intern. So in that role, basically you will learn how to realize an event. You also learn how to run a live stream event using vMix and then with the proper camera and lighting and all the different components that go into that.
We have another question from Aisha for both Mr. Kok and Miss Lani. In this COVID era, how are things different from before? Would you like to answer that first, Mr.
Kok,
Kok?
can you answer that first? I also want to ask you actually.
Okay.
I also want to ask you.
This COVID era, short story, long story short, just have to wait. No choice. Because we are a material company. What you want me to live stream? There's nothing for me to live stream. My services is to do with material. And actually today is the first time ever Core Art and Craft is doing any form of broadcasting. For the past 40 years, we've never ever done any marketing whatsoever. So this is the first time. So over the COVID era, all management got together and we decided to discuss the future of the company and related companies. Because my brothers run a cafe and a coffee roastery. So COVID was really a time of focus for all of us. And for Core Art, it was only like Siri mentioned, is patience. So we had to prep for moving forward. So that's where we had, it's silver lining. You have all this time Sunday to do designs. So what we imagine the future of Malaysian aesthetic to be, and how does that reflect in furniture and timbercraft? And if it's not, what materials do we use? If it's not those materials, how does it work with what we have now? So like Lani pointed out, use what you have now with, do what you can with what you have. And it's precisely it. All businesses survive that way. It's a time and tested thing, and it'll be true forever. So that was for us. And waited to book up balik, and then luckily we had things waiting for us to be done.
Yeah, I think, to add on to what Mr. Kok says before I answer the question is that, like, I think as a creative person, right, you really have to keep an open mind. Sometimes it's important to take a step back. You have an open mind, have an open imagination, and sometimes you just need to react to things as they come and as they happen, because things, don't go according to plan. They just don't, and I know that because I'm the strategist in the office. I'm the one that come up with the plan. So you gotta know
And all
that
creative people naturally have this I don't want to say ego, but you have a statement to make, and it is part of the creative life and journey to have that broken down and wrong, and then you rework. And that's how all creative people work. We revisit and try again.
Yeah. So for us, Aisha, when the COVID happened, it was very scary in the beginning. Let me tell you, it was so scary in the beginning because at our base at that time was events now. So when the COVID came in, everything was like cancel, 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 and then we couldn't do any events, and it was really very scary. But I think because of our nature, first of all, we are very creative. We like never say die kind of people. So what we did was everything had to shift online, and that was a challenge in terms of how do we talk to each other, because when you brainstorm, right, when you are coming up with ideas, there is a synergy that happens when you are together. One suddenly, like, things are bouncing one. But when you are looking at a computer, it's how do you get inspired, right? How do you get inspired? So but that was, and I think the challenge was once we shifted away from Google Meet into something called Kummer Space, then that sort of energy could come back because we could feel like we were together again in some sort of platform. But otherwise, it was a challenge that we overcame, and then especially because we managed to pivot into virtual events. So because we managed to pivot, we still managed to survive in that sense. We were still able to have work. We cannot explain how amazing the operations team is for like picking it up like that, man. They went from physical to, it's a totally different skill set, by the way. So if you join it, it's two different things that you will learn, because a lot of people who do physical events don't really know what goes into doing a virtual event or live streaming. It's closer to broadcasting, so it's totally different. I think in terms of the creatives, how did it change was really just how we interacted with each other, because it's hard to keep inspiration when you're just looking at a screen all day. Yeah, and now I think when we do work now, it's just that whatever idea you have must be applicable to both physical and hybrid, and you always have to have like plan B in case physical cannot, how to switch immediately to your virtual. So it's quite like intense. But it pushes your creativity lah. How do you
Yeah, sorry. There's another two questions coming from the audience. And the first one is, how do you diversify and sustain your businesses during COVID-19 pandemic? Because certain businesses have been moving towards remote working, especially for like art and craft, like your product is physical, and as well as Lani's company, the Hot Shoe Show, is also like physical, like event management. Yeah. Over to you, Mr. Cobb. Could you answer this question first?
We didn't have to diversify because the problem was people were always in office. They were never at home. Now everyone's always at home. They start to see everything goyang and not steady, and all the scratches, and the cat scratched this and that, and the kids are jumping around and breaking everything. So it's actually changed business in that sense. It used to be people who wanted things spick and span and nice right before festive season, let's say Raya, Christmas or CNY. And now it's all the time because tak puas hati. You spend more time sitting at the table that's wobbly now. So you just had enough and you call it. So every home is an office now. Back then, a centralized office. But now every home is an office, and people need to modify the tables because it used to be so small. They didn't need it. Maybe always were in office. And now I need 3 screen, and my God, it's only a 3-foot table. So things, we didn't have to diversify that much, just had to be aware of current needs. So traditional tables don't have ports for wires and stuff. But now we're moving forward, we have to design that into the new habit of working from home.
need smartphone holder built in?
Yeah, exactly.
It's very
And then the
important.
keyboard and the mouse.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's so
How you
great.
put a
Like,
table.
yeah, because a lot of companies have been like suffering from the pandemic. Like it's, but some companies actually gain from it as well, because a lot of things start to be noticeable, and like like healthcare, obviously the medical side also, it boomed, and there are many other things like the Grab drivers and all those also boom for the food riders and all that. So I'm glad that it worked out for art and craft as well.
I
Yeah.
would say worked out lah. We're not millionaires and we're not billionaires, but it's we rely upon these carpenters, and they're in Malacca. They're not KL. And
That's
when
another
no
thing.
rentas negeri, that's another thing. And they are aged. My youngest employee, carpenter, he's 45. The most senior is our finisher who restores antiques and stuff. He's 78. So
Wow, that's so amazing. Need to
correct.
continue the line, man. Need to continue
We
the
need
line.
to in
Yeah.
time, either with manpower or technology. But that's how we're going to move forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you, Miss Lani?
How do you diversify and sustain your business during COVID-19, because certain companies are moving towards remote working? Okay. So if you recall in my presentation, we said there were 6 business streams, right? So we had tech, we had tech, we had we have tech, we have the events, we have digital marketing, we have creatives, we have the studio, and we have IP. So the only one out of all of this that was severely, like, if you have 6, think about it, right? If you have 6 sources of income and you have only one that jatuh, you still okay. You can still sort of maintain. And in fact, when this one fell, the studio came up, the digital marketing came up, the need for creative came up. So it sort of balanced itself out. The only challenge for us was about how to adapt to that sort of working style. That was really probably the biggest change. And if remote work was just something that we had to get used to. And then even though macam there was a time that everybody could come to the office, right, suddenly nobody want to come back. because you get used to working from home because you set up like your whole station and it's ideal for you, how you want to do your work, and then suddenly you have to go back, you say, eh. So now what we do is we come back to the office when we need to brainstorm. So certain things like reviews, updates and stuff, we still do those online. Any meetings like this, we just do online. So we prioritize certain like different aspects. So we make do that.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense as
Yeah.
well because moving forward, a lot of companies, a lot of people, even actually education, they're all going to go into hybrid mode as
Yeah.
well. Like there's no more like work from the office every day because it's
Yeah.
just not necessary. And sometimes there is a waste of time like in traveling, you have to get here and there. So sometimes people get like a wastage of time from there.
Yeah.
So another
traveling.
question, yeah. Another question is there anything about the background or resume that would make you question whether I am a good fit for this role? Basically they're asking if there's anything on their resume if it would make them suitable for the internship role at your company. Yeah.
Uh,
Maybe
mm,
call your
mm,
answer
mm.
first. My answer quite long.
Oh,
Maybe your answer.
yeah, I can see why the answer be long because it's vague. What is it about background? Like I don't know. Have you been to prison? No, but even then, I mean that is a concern for a lot of employers. I mean, globally, it's an
Yeah.
issue. But for
Yeah.
us, you know, ups and downs in life, we understand. As you cannot judge a person by a book cover or a resume, full stop. Boils down to having a table talk. We have to talk about it. What is it about bothering you that makes you feel qualified or unqualified? Is very different from what I would think so. So get in touch, then we'll chat and see how.
Okay.
Very
So
simple, his answer. Just
yeah.
talk to me and we will talk it through.
I mean,
But it's
definitely.
actually, yeah, it's
Yeah,
true
that's it.
because,
I mean, I don't remember when you finish your sentence.
yeah, I know, because it's the trust and the connection. If you can connect with who you're working with and you build the trust, then it's better than just judging the person based on the resume and the background. Yeah.
Precisely, because as an employer, and I'm sure every employer can tell you how many fake resumes there are out there. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter,
Yeah.
because that's another issue. So you cannot trust anything anymore. I can only look you in the eye and have a heart-to-heart conversation. That's all. Then the rest is Bismillah only.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think, I totally agree with what Mr. Kok is saying. I think chemistry is the first thing, that I look for. Like it's how you talk to me when, I pick up the phone, or how you present yourself when we do the virtual interview. But when I look to a resume, there's first of all, we go back to our values, right? But I think it also is, I'm looking for a certain level of skill. I think at an intern level, okay, the thing that we're looking for is skills. So generally, and this ties into Amanda's question also. Generally, in our company, we're looking for three things: knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Right? All attitude is something you cannot grow. It's not something we can really change, right? It's whether you have a good work ethic, you don't have a good work ethic, teacher, or if you are lazy but you are very clever to find ways to do these things in an efficient way, it's still good. So attitude cannot change. Okay, so the things that we can uh, sort of be picky on is your knowledge and your skills. So in terms of at an intern level, what we're looking for is if you have a baseline of knowledge in terms of the tool that you are using. So for example, if you're a 3D guy, like, do you know how to use 3D Max? What do you think is your skill level in 3D Max? Or if you are UI UX, then do you know what is Figma? Do you know how to use Figma? Do you understand what is hierarchy if you are a creative? Do you understand how to work Adobe Illustrator? And then, do you need to do edits into Photoshop and stuff like that? So it's really more about your technical knowledge, because the skills is, I think, like the craftsman, the more you do, right, the better you are on. So we don't expect you to come in at an intern level and be able to do like super amazing creatives. But we need to know during the interview, or I need to feel the confidence that, okay, I think he understands what is the skills that is required to, let's say, conceptualizing an art. right? For our 3D guys, you know, because we also do a lot of art, you know, we do event got entrance art. So like we need to know that you have the basic knowledge of how that works, you know. So if you're during the interview, if I ask you questions, right, then your logic like doesn't make sense, then we know, okay, maybe this is not the right fit. Maybe you need to go back and learn by Google how to improve in that sense. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the answer. It's very in-depth, and I think that's very useful for like creative students who are now going for their internship or like to get their first job after their internship as well. I think we have time for the last question for both companies, for both of our speakers here. What would you consider to be a successful intern to get an offer as a permanent job to the company?
That's a really good question to end the discussion on.
This question on
Um,
point though.
on
Long
point,
term.
oh, fantastic.
Think long term.
Yeah. So I'll go first as you.
Yeah.
A successful intern, essentially someone who has something to contribute, you're confident to contribute it, and you don't mind being wrong. But you know your path. If you know your path, nothing else matters. You're okay. You will learn, you will fall, you will rise, but this is the way it's going. So for us, it's someone who knows where they want to go. And that's all. Because everything is long term. So as long as you know where you want to go, you're in it for long term, on.
And especially because I think with Mr. Cobb, right, or with the Cobb Art and Craft, it's about making things that last, you know, and things that last requires you to have some level of grit and like long-term thinking, you know. For us, I think we look for the same thing, to be honest. It just boils down. Okay, I think as an intern, right, for us, first of all is, again, we boil it down to like your knowledge, skills, and attitude. So first thing we're looking for is during your internship, did you display the right values to us, right? Did you work, you know, with passion? Were you good with your teammates? You know, do you learn? Do you know, for yourself, do you learn? Do you take the initiative to ask questions? Did you show any growth? You know, did you deliver your work on time? So we measure the metric of our people based on this. But then after that, I think as an intern, I think one of the questions that we would ask you during your internship review is, okay, so where would you want to go from here? Right? Because during an internship, you are exposed to a lot of things, right? And I think for us as employers, or not even just for us, like any other employer out there, I think, you know, during my father's time, he would be like, Lani, just do it, you know, and just try, just be open to everything, just try. But I think now, if I'm an employer, to me, I am not the one that is going to make your career path. You are going to make your career path. So you as an intern or as a person that is, you know, fresh grad going into the industry, you kind of need to know when you are working, you need to be like self-aware now. Oh, I like UI UX. Whenever I get to do that, that is the thing that makes me the most like, oh wow, you know, I want to learn more. You know, or when you're doing 3D, you can be like, oh, I really like the challenge of, you know, figuring out what materials work within this budget, you know. So you as a person need to know where you want to go, and then with whichever employer you have, you should be able to have that conversation with them to be like, hey, I'm interested in 3D, so can I, you know, if we were to convert to full-time, can we do more of that? Can we do more of this? I have like some ideas, and I feel like I still need to learn more in this place and in that place. That's why, like, for me, what I really appreciate about like Hot Shoes was that I started off in PR. Then I was like, I don't want to be I feel like there was a very specific part of public relations, which is rebranding, that I liked. So from there, they were like, okay, if you like rebranding, then let's try you out in strategy. Then strategy was like all the way, you know, just took that all the way. Then after that, when I was in strategy, we started leading teams, and I was like, you know what, I'm really into team dynamics. It's really interesting. So then you have to have that conversation with your boss and be like, can I try something new? Because I think, you know, you as a person, you evolve and you change, one, right? But it's about how can you create that longevity, because you need to be your own sort of compass, right? You need to know what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go. Yeah. So that's really what we are looking for in our intern in order for you to come and join in as a permanent full time. You kind of need to know like, oh, I want to do this. You can be like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, and things
Okay.
click and then it becomes natural, right?
Aisha. I
Thank
wish
you
you guys
so
had your
much
screen
for
on, man. Then we can like see your face.
Thank you so much, Lani and Jitsang, for like sharing information about your company and answering the questions. I think it's been very insightful and like very like genuine because you really show them like really how what it takes to be in the creative industry. Every creative role is different, but at the same time there are similarities here and there. Like it just takes them to explore and really know what they want to take it far in the creative industry. Yeah, it's about being like authentic to themselves and for the company as well. So just to end the session with like a few announcements here, like here are the QR codes again for the job cards. If you missed out on them earlier, do scan if you are interested to connect with Corp Art and Craft or the Hot Shoe Show through our Kabel app. Remember, you have to download the app first, change the location to Selangor and Kuala Lumpur, and use the scanner. Once you've scanned it, the job card will be added to your swipe list. You can swipe right and left. As you will have an existing swipe list already, it might already be part of your list. In that case, there will be a notification that informs you that. So just go ahead and swipe the job cards to find the job card that you want to swipe right on in your list. Be careful not to swipe left on the job card. Once you swipe left, you won't be able to retrieve it even if you scan the QR codes again. So be sure, okay, like to make sure that you got the right card and to swipe right on it. Don't let the opportunity fly away. Okay, so thank you so much to the speakers. And we just want to highlight that February is also the creative month of Kabel, where we onboard like creative hirers, companies, and they already posted up their creative jobs. And you can get your creative internship or job in whichever department that you are interested in. And we also want to offer the students of USM, not just for the students that are participating in RINTIS week as well. Actually, we see that you guys are very interested to learn how to stand out to your employers, to the interviewers. So we want to offer you a chance for a one-on-one interview session with Camila, our founder. So you can actually send us your email in the chat box and we can get in touch with you. We will be doing it like limited, maybe like 10 a week. So it depends on first come, first serve. So while we're still in this session, you can send us your email in the chat box. And we also have other companies, as I mentioned already, that are posting jobs on Kabel. And yeah, so download Kabel today, create your profile, get your internship or your first job. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and Discord for more info and content. Okay, thank you so much again to the speakers, and we really appreciate the time. I think like the students really liked it lah.